And maybe after this, after break, this make an announcement. After the breakfast, we will have another class with Jay Govinda. Said he will talk about some practical application of Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
So
What time is that?
maybe after breakfast, we'll go for breakfast, and then maybe about 10:30, like that.
Okay.
We had a Bhagavad Gita workshop yesterday to do it. So that period, maybe we can do that. And Gopesha Prabhu, if you want to actually add to that, maybe you will do
After breakfast.
after breakfast, we are doing that yourself. We also, tomorrow, the topic for, you have the topic in the morning class also.
Okay.
Atma Gyana, we are going to talk about
Okay.
tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Sorry.
If that's okay.
So,
It's so nice to see how Subhasini Didi is organizing everything in such a gentle and efficient and affectionate way. Very, very nice, very unassuming, very gentle, dignified manner. Okay. Om Jnanantiminandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshormilitanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurvavishta Subhudakam Ruvane Shisha Samrushitam Chincha Samastaveda Nipunam Shri Rupa Pantanagam Govindabhidamujvalam Varatanam Bhaktyambitam Sundaram Vande Vishwa Gurunsha Divya Bhagavat Premna Hivijapadam Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Godatrise Namaha Vansha Kalpa Drubhyascha Gripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha. Okay, well, we are very, very happy to be here in Kiltegen in this very beautiful atmosphere. It feels like a very nurturing atmosphere. It's a very pious place, There's so much care that is being given here, So it is we can feel it is a very, very pious place. It is a rich, rich place, and everybody is feeling that here. And now, Mahaprabhu has come and claimed it as his place. So, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, any place where Hari Katha takes place, that becomes a holy place. So now this is the third year running. This has been going on by the inspiration of the devotees, and so it is now. It is a tirtha. It is a place of pilgrimage, and so many souls are coming here, and they're very fortunate to come into this atmosphere where this vibration of Krishna consciousness, Hari Katha, it has been spread. Okay, so we did have there was a topic, the 2 levels of Dharma, and I wasn't exactly sure what that was, maybe that was Tyagi Maharaj's title. I wasn't sure what he was thinking of, but I was thinking of something, but I don't know, because I thought it was meant to be about Bhagavad Gita, so I don't know if that's particularly talking about, it must be particularly about Bhagavad Gita. Or it was general, was it?
Take it as you like, but it was what I was told was that they wanted themes that were related to the Bhagavad Gita, so then this was thought to be related to that.
How is it related to Bhagavad Gita?
You tell us. This is your class.
I've covered this topic before, but in a broad sense, not in terms of Bhagavad Gita. So I'm interested to know what your thinking was in Bhagavad Gita.
Well, there's that commentary of Guru Maharaj in the Hidden Treasure about this, where Krishna refers to doing your dharma and maybe taken in reference to Varnashram Dharma or to the Atma's Dharma of Bhagavad Dasya.
Okay, yeah, that was my thinking, yeah. So you're thinking of that verse in the very beginning? What is that verse? Paro dharmo bhayavaha, that verse, that's what you're thinking of?
Not other things.
Okay. Okay. So 2 levels of Dharma. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is described as the Jaiva Dharma, the natural religion of all souls. It is the Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he describes 5 different levels of consciousness. The lowest being, inert, inanimate entities like, stones, in which their consciousness is very, very suppressed. And then the highest expression, the full-fledged expression of consciousness is Krishna consciousness, one who is fully awake to their real nature, their real position within the absolute whole. One who is fully awake to the real purpose of reality, that real current of Krishna's interest, Krishna's cause. That is the highest expression of consciousness. So it is not it is in the highest expression of consciousness. This will not be a practice or some form that one is following, but it is something very automatic, and it is the most natural expression of the soul. The soul wants to go towards Krishna. That example Srila Gurudev has given of an iron, iron particles and a magnet. And it, naturally those particles, they will be attracted to the magnet. But if there's some rust there, then that that attraction is not going to take place. So Krishna consciousness, it is the highest path, because it is intrinsically who we are, fundamentally. Jiver Srupahoy, Krishna Nitya Das, And so in this highest sense, Dharma, it is the intrinsic nature of oneself. And this verse in the Manu Samhita, Srila Gurudev has quoted, Vidvad bi sevitashad bir nityam advesha ragi bi hridya yene benugyato yo dharmastam nibodhata. And there a very wonderful definition of dharma is given. And Srila Gurudev, he inscribed this on the side of our Param Gurudev Srila Sridhar Maharaj's temple in Navadvip, and above he posed the question, Dharma ki, what is Dharma? Everyone, especially in the Vedic culture, it's Dharma, 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 doing the Dharma, It's all about the Dharma. If you go through Mahabharata, it's all about the Dharma, That is, that's the righteous path, But what really is Dharma? And so this verse in the Manu Samhita gives a very wonderful, perspective on this. And this is what we can understand to be the highest connotation of Dharma, the highest, application and connotation of Dharma. That this is something that is actually a natural expression of the heart. So it describes, what is Dharma? Dharma is that which is practiced by those who are vidvadbi, those who are knowledgeable in the scripture, sevita, those who are practicing, they are knowledgeable, they are also practicing that, what they know, they are perfect sadhus, nityam advesha ragibi, they are free from these 2 things which bind us in this world, attraction and aversion to this worldly plane, to things of this worldly plane. They are free from that. And hridyayena bhyanugyato. It is something that is known to their heart. It is a natural expression of their heart. And also in Mahabharata, Yudhisthira Maharaj, when in that famous incident when he when he's with his brothers in exile, and there's that occasion when everybody's thirsty, and so one of them goes to the river nearby, one of the brothers, and doesn't come back. Then another brother goes and doesn't come back, and then another one goes and doesn't come back, another one goes, doesn't come back, and then finally Yudhisthira Maharaj, he goes and he sees that his brothers are all lying unconscious and beside this river, and there is a very mysterious bird there, and the bird tells Yudhisthira Maharaj that you can drink this water only if you can answer my questions. Otherwise you'll meet the same fate as your brothers. And so Yudhisthira Maharaj, he was very wise, and he thought, I better pay attention. This is not an ordinary bird. And so Yudhisthira Maharaj, okay, yes, what are your questions? And as we know, this was actually Yamaraj, or Dharmaraj, the Lord of Death, who was coming to examine, Yudhisthira and his brothers. And so there were many questions, like over 100 questions that Yamaraj asked him. And there were 4 in particular that are very well known and very widely discussed. And one of those questions was, what is the way? What is the path? And Yudhisthira Maharaj, his answers are all so wonderful, and they shake you. What you would ordinarily think these answers might be. They're revolutionary. When he asks him, what is the news? and he tells him, that's something, we read the news, we talk about the news, but Yudhisthira Maharaj, highly, very wise person, and he gives a very, essential answer, and tells him that the news of this world is that all the souls of this world, they're being cooked within this pot of illusion. They're being stirred by Kal, Mahakal, time, and they're being stirred by the ladles of the months and the seasons, the fire of the sun. And our Gurudev, he added, and with some masala of kam, krodh, lobh, moha, mada, matsarja, lust, anger, envy, illusion, so on and so forth. This is the only news. This is the only news of this world. Or as Srila Sridhar Maharaj boiled it down, we are all rushing into the jaws of death. Print this on your newspaper. This should be on every headline. Or as we see, we're all going to die. Let's solve this problem first before we go to solve anything else. Let's solve this. This is the first thing we need to address. And that's one headline. And then another headline is, how are we living in separation from Krishna? Like, what are we doing? Like, what the hell are we doing? How are we maintaining our life without living, with our Lord, serving our Lord, experiencing the joy of our relationship with Lord Krishna? Like, what is wrong with us? Like, this is what we need to research. When Mahaprabhu goes to Gaya and receives initiation from Ishvara Puri as part of his pastime, then when he comes back, this is all he's thinking about. And he calls a meeting. He calls like a big meeting with all the Vaishnavas in Navadvip just to discuss this point. How am I living without Krishna? Like, I'm suffering. What am I going to do? What is the solution? This is the headline. We're all going to die. And how are we living without Krishna? These are the only things we need to be talking about. These are the only things we need to be researching. These are the only things we need to be doing anything for. So Yudhisthira Maharaj, he gave that answer. to what is the news. And another very nice one, also related, was sorry, I'm not sleeping very well, so my brain is like stopping and starting and getting stuck. But what is the miracle? This was another question. What is astonishing? What is the miracle? And Yudhisthira Maharaj, he said, Ahanyahani bhutani gachanti yama mandiram shesha stavram ichanti kim ascharja ataparam kim ascharja ataparam. What could be more astonishing than this? That every day so many people, they are rushing into the temple of death, yama mandiram. And everyone, shesha stavram, everyone who's staying behind, they're thinking, it won't happen to me. And we're building our big houses, as Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada commented. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj mentioned this several times. It impressed him very much. Srila Swami Maharaj, when he went to New York City, it was very striking to him that they were building these very high skyscrapers. And you can think, right, coming from India, of course now it's different, but this is 1960s, right? This was something that struck him. They were building these tall skyscrapers, and Srila Swami Maharaj was struck, thinking, they're very busy building these tall buildings, spending so much money, so much time, so many resources, and these buildings are going to last for hundreds of years. But they're not thinking about the people who are going to live in those buildings. They've forgotten about that, What is really necessary for those people, for those subjective entities. They're very busy on the objective side, on the outside, on the external aspect of things. But they've forgotten about the person within. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he commented on that many times. So we're very busy, building these high skyscrapers and building up our bank balances and our savings accounts and so on and so forth, and increasing our collection of this and collection of that, etc., etc. But we're not thinking about, we're going to die. What is actually necessary for me? If I knew I was going to die tomorrow, what would be important to me? How should I actually be spending my time? What am I doing for the person within? What am I doing for the eternal soul? I'm very busy on this temporary cover, but what about that person within? I've forgotten about that. So this Yudhisthira Maharaj, and it's the influence of illusion. You get comfortable, You don't realize that you're actually suffering, Like Srila Swami Maharaj, this is given, by the realized souls to be in a state of avidya, to be in a state of ignorance of the true self. This is suffering, actually. We're just not aware of it. We're not conscious of it. Srila Swami Maharaj mentions in one of his purports, he mentions the example, a maggot living in the drain is not thinking like, oh my God, I'm a maggot in the drain, living on stool, I'm living on stool. Then the maggot's not thinking that. The maggot's thinking, oh, what a warm and cozy environment. Nice, squishy environment. Very tasty food I have here. Pre-digested. So in the same way, like if we were aware of our condition, it would be unbearable. Like the way we identifying with this body, this mind, these senses, it would be unbearable. We would be writhing like in agony, like how am I living? So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he prays, Vinod ko he laments rather, Vinod ko he hai, Hari Das, Hari nahi pai, like alas, who is Hari Das? Who by their very nature, most intrinsic nature, is a servant of Hari. Hari nahi pai, he doesn't have Hari. He is Krishna Das. That is who he is, You know, I'm American and I can't go to America. I'm Russian, I can't go to Russia. You know, like what I identify with most intrinsically, I cannot have that. I'm separated from that. What a sad situation, what a tragic situation. It is the most pitiable thing. So Yudhisthira Maharshi, he gives that answer. You know, what could be more astonishing than that? And then the one that we're coming to, his question, another question, he asked, what is the way? You know, what is the path? How can we ascertain what is the path? And similar to this other verse from Manu Samhita defining Dharma, Yudhisthira Maharshi gave this very nice answer. Tarko pratishta shrutya vibhina nasavashir yasya matam nabinam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gata se panta, right? Mahajano yena gata se panta. That he's listing different things, different things by which general persons may come to understand what is the way, what is the path, what is the truth, and he dismisses them, one by one. That tarko apratishta, that through argument, argument is inconclusive. Simply through logic, discussion, debate, you cannot come to the truth of things. You may have one person representing one school of thought and another person representing another school of thought, and they may debate, and it depends on who's more skilled in argument, and the one who's more skilled, he'll win the debate, but that doesn't necessarily represent the truth, So just like someone may become a very powerful lawyer, and win many cases, but it doesn't necessarily mean, that they are representing the what is the truth, So through argument, one cannot ascertain what is true, what is the path. And then shrutya vibhina, the scriptures, they are very variegated. You find everything in the Vedas. You find, every path you'll find within the Vedas. There's very nice section in one part of Brihad Bhagavatamrita when Gopakumar, he's in the heavenly planets and I think in Indra's court, and there's a debate going on between different personified sections of the Vedas. There was some incident, somebody became liberated. It was said that someone became liberated through chanting, through taking the holy name, I believe, the Lord's name. And then there was some debate over whether this was really possible. And so many different personified sections of the Vedic scriptures, they're debating upon this point. So there's so many different schools of thought, that are represented within the Vedic literature. So if you just go like yourself to try to understand what is what, you'll get lost. You'll get lost in this jungle. For those who can see where it's all going, those who can see what the system is, it makes perfect sense. But if you don't know that, then you're just lost. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his in one of his songs, there's this very nice expression, sarva, what is it? Sarva Vede Bole, Krishna Radhar Dasi, Sarva Vede Bole, something like that. That all the Vedas, they declare that Krishna is the property of the maidservants of Radharani. So something like this, A very grand, very bold statement. All the Vedas, they're declaring this. If you go to look through the Vedas, you won't find that. If you look at the conclusion and you look where they're all leading to, then you can see that. Then you can say that. But without having that understanding, So you cannot rely on the scripture because there's so much in the scripture. There's so many things that are described. There's so many different levels of instruction. There's kindergarten, there's class 1, class 2, class 3, etc., etc. And then there's the PhD. But on your own, you will not be able to determine, what is what. So Yudhishthira Maharshi, and then also he says, Nasavrishir yasya matam nabinam, that one cannot become a rishi unless they have some opinion, some idea which is distinct, which is different from others. Like Srila Gurudev would say, like a PhD student, you have some particular thesis, right? And you have to have an idea that is new. You have to have some particular proposal that hasn't been made before, something unique, And so therefore, this is what a rishi is. They make their name by propounding some new idea that others don't know. So therefore, how can you really trust them? Maybe they're just trying to make their name. Maybe they're just trying to say something different that's going to get everybody's attention. Some the latest new theory about things. So therefore, they cannot really be trusted. And so then Yudhishthira Maharshi, he says, Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena kata se panta, that the real truth about Dharma, where you will really find Dharma, that is within the heart of the realized soul. It is living. Dharma is not some, formal procedures and particular way of doing things, some particular practices. Dharma is something that is living within the heart of the real saint, of the real Vaishnava, of the real devotee of the Lord. It is a living truth. And so, this is what a Paramahamsa is. Do you know what a Paramahamsa is, Vilma? Well, a Hamsa means a swan. And Paramahamsa means a great swan. And it refers to, we've been told that swans, they have this very special ability that if there is milk and water mixed together, if milk is mixed with some other substance, they can go and extract just the milk and leave the water behind. Very special quality. And so in our, it is, our tradition that spiritually, very great spiritually evolved souls, they are described like this, as having this type of nature, in the sense that they can perceive the spiritual essence of things. They can perceive the real utility of things. They can see how everything can be connected to Krishna. They can extract essential spiritual principles, from so many practices that we may follow in a formulaic way, in a mechanical way, in a robotic way. They can understand the true, they know the proper application of those things. They know time, place, and circumstance. They understand the true essence of everything, and they can see the spiritual essence within all souls also. So this is the Paramahamsa. In every time, place, and circumstance, they can understand, what is the proper application of various principles here, It's nothing's done by rote. Nothing is a dry and formulaic thing. But they're able to know when and how and like that. And we are very blessed because we had the association of our Gurudev, and he wonderfully demonstrated that to us. There are so many things which are general recommendations, for the general practitioner. But our Gurudev, he demonstrated in so many cases, when something should be applied and when it shouldn't be applied. that in this situation, a higher principle should be considered. Generally, this principle is what we're advised to follow, but in this case, we're going to look at another principle, a higher principle. And so for example, one example, our Gurudev, he always operated on the highest level of things. He always operated according to the highest principles of Krishna consciousness and spirituality, if we want to talk generically. But like, for example, there was one occasion, and there's many times he did this. This is just one that I'm thinking of right now, that somebody offered him a biscuit which had some impure ingredient in it, which according to the normal, Vedic guidelines, we won't take that, This is, tamagun or rajagun, this is impure, you'll be contaminated, So somebody offered this biscuit to our Gurudev, which had this ingredient, and then another person who knew that particular brand of biscuit, he went to our Gurudev and like whispered in his ear, "Oh, Gurudev, I know that biscuit, it has such and such ingredient in it, you probably won't want to take that. We're not supposed to take that, And our Gurudev, he just said, very simply and very sweetly, I am accepting the affection of the devotees. I'm accepting the affection that they are giving to me. So ordinarily, this is how we practice, this is what we do this, we don't do that, this is wrong, this is right. But ultimately, these are mundane considerations. These are lower considerations. But for higher consideration is this exchange of affection. The inspiration that was in the heart of this devotee wanting to offer something. They weren't thinking, is this right, is this wrong? They had a desire to make an offering. They were making an offering of love to our Gurudev. They were offering themselves through that. And actually, the ingredients, that's secondary consideration. But it was that mood of offering, that mood of affection that our Gurudev was considering, and he was accepting that like a real Paramahamsa. And so many occasions. And another time, some of our devotees from China, they gave our Gurudev a bottle of rice wine, and and we don't take wine, But these devotees so simple, and it's very difficult for them to grasp they're coming from such a foreign culture. It's very hard for them to grasp all of these different things, They're just thinking, this is very traditional, this is like very valuable for us, and we want to give that to our Gurudev. So our Gurudev, he didn't drink that, but he put it very proudly on display, in his room. And everybody coming and going, they could see that there, And anyone like from another mission, they could come and criticize him for that. Like, what is this? What kind of an acharya? What kind of a sannyasi is this? He's keeping wine, He didn't care about that, He was just thinking, they're giving me this with affection in their heart. And I'm accepting that, and I'm happy to receive that, There's a nice, maybe you heard this story before, Lord Krishna once when he went to visit his friend Vidura in Dwarka, and Vidura was out at that time, but his wife was there, and she was very, very ecstatic to see Krishna, very overwhelmed, and of course when you have a guest, then you offer them something, right? Some water, some food, and so she took some bananas that she had, and she was peeling the bananas, but in her ecstasy, she was confused, and so she began giving Krishna the peels. She was throwing away the bananas, and Krishna was eating the peels. And Krishna was accepting that and happily taking them, you know. And while this transaction was going on, then Vidura, he returned home, and he saw this, and they saw his wife offering Krishna these banana peels, and you know, what are you doing? You know, you're giving Krishna the peels of the banana. You know? And Narada Muni was also there. He was also coming in with Vidura. And thank you so much, dear. Jai Shri Gurudev. And the Narada Muni, he pointed out, but look, Krishna's happily taking that, you know. And then Krishna expressed, you know, actually I'm not taking the peels or the banana, you know, but I'm taking the love of my devotee. Krishna is described as Bhava Grahi Janardana, you know, who accepts the mood, who accepts the heart of his devotee. You know, what the paraphernalia is, that is immaterial in the highest consideration of things, you know. That is not so important. So we can understand this to be the highest understanding of Dharma. You know, that which is an automatic flow of the heart, you know, towards Krishna. And one who's living in that consciousness, they can do anything and everything. You know, we hear of some like very extreme, like within our plane, you know, we've heard of some very extreme examples, like Vamsidas Babaji Maharaj. He would offer a pipe to Gaur Thai, you know, deities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nityan. He would offer, you know, this pipe, you know. That was his heart offering, you know. So for one who's on that highest level of consciousness, and in the highest plane, you know, the Braja Gopis, the divine damsels of Vrindavan, they're leaving everything behind in order to serve Krishna. Asamaho charanavenu jushama hamsam vrindavane kamapi gomalatosha dinam yaduschajam swajanam arjapatam chahitva bejor mukunda padavim shutibir vimrigyam. They left everything behind, you know. They are celebrated because they gave up the ordinary dharma of the what is given in the scriptures, the stereotyped dharma of right and wrong, duty, non-duty. They left all consideration of that behind, you know, gave up their reputation, gave up the dharma, the path of dharma, so-called path of dharma, in order to serve Krishna, you know. And, you know, they are celebrated for that, you know, for leaving behind, you know, lower conception of dharma, for the highest dharma of serving Krishna, you know, the highest call, you know, highest function of the soul. And this is the clarion call of Bhagavad Gita, you know. Krishna is outlining other kinds of dharma in Bhagavad Gita. And then at the conclusion, he's saying, Sarva dharma prityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. No ham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaya shami ma shucha. Give up all conceptions of dharma within the relativity of this, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? You know, this world of separate interest, within the relativity of this world of separate interest. No, relative conceptions of dharma. You know, for those who are living within the egocentric world, you know, whatever conceptions of dharma are pertaining to that world, you know, to keep us all good boys and good girls, you know, leave all of that aside. You know, in order to fulfill this highest dharma, this higher dharma, most intrinsic dharma of serving me. I am the absolute center. I am the real cause of everything. I am the real Lord I am the real master of everything. If you come to take of my interest, then you can leave behind so many other lower conceptions of Dharma. We were discussing this, was it yesterday, the day before yesterday in Italy. There's this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, because it's the Vedas, they actually give like a very wonderful, very harmonious way by which one can live within this world. If one wants to live in this world, if one wants to have a good life in this world, then the Vedas give, if someone still has some conception of self-interest, if someone is still motivated by personal gain in some sense in this world, then the Vedas give actually a very wonderful, we don't mean to diss the Vedas, sometimes we're dissing the Vedas, or at least I am. But actually they give a very wonderful, prescription for one who wants to live in the world and enjoy something of this world. The Vedas give a wonderful, harmonious way, and with minimal reaction, minimizing the reactions that you will acquire for living and enjoying within this world. The Vedas give that, But if but what that entails is living this very complex life, very, so many nuances have to be considered. And so many things will have to be observed, So for example, it is told that, generally that every soul, they have some particular debts, that they have to fulfill. They have debts to the demigods because they're supplying the resources of this world. And there's different ways to liquidate these debts, So to the devas, you owe something, you pay them through sacrifice, I think. To the sages who have given the Vedic knowledge, by studying, to the ancestors, by having children, and etc. This is how to live, in harmony with the environment, in consideration of all of these different things, giving attention to all of these different things. So there's so many different rituals that have to be observed. However, if somebody wants a simple life, if somebody wants an uncomplicated life, then just surrender to Krishna. Then you don't need to consider all of these things. So it is, if one approaches the root of the whole, the center of the whole, the fundamental purpose of the whole, then they are excused from all of these things, So this verse in Bhagavatam, Devarshi Bhutata Ninam Pitrinam, is mentioning, all of these different debts that and Maharaj can tell us very perfectly, all these things, but I'm just, glossing over it. For one, normally a person in this world has all of these debts. However, if someone has surrendered to Krishna, if someone has given themselves to the real, central purpose of existence, to surrender themselves to the root of the whole, with affection, with love, then they can disregard all of these things. They can live a very simple life, very uncomplicated life. You're just considering one thing: what is good for Krishna? Anukulyena Krishna Anushilam. That's it. Not what does this rishi say, and what does this ancestor say, and what is this mantra, and what is this ritual, and what is this sacrifice, and what is this tapasya I'm supposed to perform to nullify this sin that I did, and so on and so forth. You don't have to think about any of that. It's just what is favorable to Krishna, what is pleasing to Krishna, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to do, how am I going to dress, what am I going to talk about. It's just Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. That's all it is. Very straightforward, very simple. Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, this is our war cry. Krishna Santosh. What is for Krishna's pleasure? What is for Krishna's satisfaction? Everything is for that, So for one who's living in consciousness of that highest, current of reality, one who's living, with that, that free and natural flow of the heart, of the soul towards Krishna, then they don't need to consider anything else. That is the highest Dharma. They don't have to think about anything else. However, for those who are living within the conditioned state, for those who are struggling with material desires, then so many things have to be considered, And so for people like us, we're like kind of like, in between, We're not on that highest level of the highest Dharma. But at the same time, we don't want to stick too much to the stereotyped Dharma given for souls who are like fully caught up in the flow of this world, So therefore, for persons like us, we're somewhere in the middle. We are following particular guidelines. We're following rules, regulations. The general guidelines of proper behavior. What to eat and so on and so forth. But at the same time, we have some appreciation for the higher principles, and if it's appropriate, then we may try to disregard some lower considerations in particular circumstances. Okay, well, I don't know how clear that was. I kind of just, I wasn't really, planning out like an organized talk. Would you like to add something, Maharaj?
No, we're very happy to hear a lively discourse.
Anyone else like to add anything or anything at all? Well, it's 5 to 9. Should we finish there then?
Sure.
Or do you want to do something else?
No, that's fine.
Subhasini Didi, do you want to sing Hari Hari Nama Krishna?